4-year-old Sejal always dreamed to be a therapist, or did she, grow up to be the therapist that she is today?
I feel like I didn't choose healing. In fact, healing chose me. The idea of fixing something and seeing it heal was something I really enjoy.
Was there a pivotal event in your life or a pivotal person in your life, good or bad, who pushed you towards this journey?
When I came home during my COVID, I got major anxiety. I didn't know what was happening to me. My family stood by me to take me out of that. So that is actually when, for the first time, I understood what anxiety actually is. Because I didn't feel like doing anything. I didn't feel like eating. All I would want to do is cry.
Can I take therapy?
Therapy is not for people who are broken. Therapy is for anybody who's human. No, the therapy is for people who, are going through something mentally. But I personally feel that therapy is for anybody and everybody who wants to understand themselves better. I think everybody needs therapy just to understand themselves better, to be a better version of them, and just to stay grounded, stay present. Because so healing and therapy is something where pain meets presence.
Such a beautiful line.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're going through everything that you probably wouldn't ever want to. But you're going through all of that by staying present in the moment.
Hello and welcome to Soul School, where we are having our second podcast with somebody who's really special to me. Welcome here, Sejal Bansal, the founder of Apricity Haven. And now I want to just give the stage to her to open up all that there is about her practice and how she, at her tender age, has taken the huge responsibility of being a therapist. But before that, I'll share an anecdote of how I found her. So I found Sejal through Instagram, and I sent a query, as we all do, for products that we see there and services. And mental health is something that that's really picking up on Instagram, because the kind of reels that you see define an algorithm, and then they give the advertisers data to target that audience as well.
Right.
So here is where I found Sejal, and I found this woman to be so pretty, to be so composed, and I'm like, okay, I am the exact opposite right now, but I know I can be like this. So let me just speak to her. But when I spoke to her on call, like she answered the query, I was just defiant. I don't want to talk to you. I don't believe in your practice. And she's like, why did you sign up for it? Like, if you really want to do this, come with an open mind tomorrow. That was a stern instruction, and I think I needed it. And that day in March and today in June, my life is completely different, and here I'm hosting this podcast. So thank you so much, Sejal, for doing this with me. This is your first podcast, but I'm sure that it's not going to appear that way. And thank you so much for hand holding me to this powerful anchor that now I have become, even though I've studied journalism so long.
Yeah. So firstly, thank you so much for having me. I think this is my first podcast, like you mentioned, so I am a little nervous, I won't lie. But I think this is very special to me, firstly because you are hosting it. Somebody who's my client has invited me as a guest. So it feels like I've come a full circle. So yeah, and like Gauri mentioned, I met her. Actually, I didn't. This is the first time I'm meeting her, but I have spoken to her on call. And the first call I had with Gauri, she had completely given up on life. It's like before I said hi, also she's like, why is she calling me? Why is she reaching out to me? But I think it happened so organically. And there was one thing that I told her, like she mentioned. I told her, just show up with hope. Like there's nothing else required from your side. Bas aao to hope ke saath aao. And I'm glad she showed up. Here we are today. So again, thank you for having me. And yeah, it's truly special.
No, Sejal, I now being 5 years into this practice, basically through a lot of modalities, like I started with probably CBT, there was a tinge of NLP, then I extremely went into NLP, then I went into something which is meditative, and then I came across hypnotherapy. So, I mean, when I now circle back to look at your journey, you've been somebody like me only. Like, we've studied in premium South Delhi schools, and the expectation from us is to, either go into the industry as like maybe me, a journalist, or somebody, an actor. So many girls from my school are models as well.
Right.
And with such pretty faces, what are we
Right.
doing here? Why are we talking about mental health? So I just want to understand your journey into choosing this path for yourself. Like, did the 4-year-old Sejal always dream to be a therapist, or did she, grow up to be the therapist that she is today?
So I feel like I didn't choose healing. In fact, healing chose me. That is what I think. Because when I was young, like I think till grade 8, I'd always want to become an orthopedic surgeon. Right. So where I live, there's a very famous orthopedic surgeon. I used to look up to him and I was like, okay, he's my inspiration. I want to do this maybe 10 years down the line. And the idea of fixing something and seeing it heal was something I really enjoy. And I think I am doing it now. Of course, it's a different modality, it's a different way, but it is somewhere along the same lines. And I think healing is something that is very personal to me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, personally, I feel that I want to give that space to others where they can express themselves. And the idea is not fixing them. The idea is helping them understand themselves better and basically walking with them so that, they can, maybe the beliefs, the patterns they're holding, they can just come across and be the best version of themselves.
So Sejal, I was again going through your LinkedIn, and LinkedIn was the place where I
Yeah.
actually promised myself that now I can go to Sejal, because I was done trusting people just on instinct. I wanted
Yeah.
some proof. So what blew me away was that Sejal has gone to Nottingham University in the UK.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to clinical hypnotherapy from Bombay, I mean, I just want to decode that journey, and I want it through your voice and eyes.
Okay, so I did my master's in psychology from the University of Nottingham. So it was a 1-year course. I had the best time, and then eventually I had to come back to India because that is something I wanted. I wanted to do something, but in India itself. Now, when I came back to India, I won't lie, I was lost. I was like, okay, now what do I do? And initially, I was planning to do clinical psychology. But then you had to study a lot, right? There were 3-4 years required more, and I could not study. Like, I wanted practicality in my life. I wanted real life dealing with clients firsthand, bookish knowledge. That is something I did not want to, continue with. And then through a cousin's friend, I got introduced to hypnotherapy, and I was equally shocked. Like, I had absolutely no idea what this is and where this is going to take me. But I was like, if we've crossed paths, it is for a reason.
Of course.
And let's just work on it. You never know.
Yeah.
I can turn a full-fledged career into this, so
Yeah.
why not? And I love being around people. I love speaking to people. I love understanding what the person is going through and why are they going through that. So humans have always made me very inquisitive. I'm very like... I'm a person who wants to know why a person is behaving the way they are. So maybe that is something that drew me to hypnotherapy. And then I have also, like during my practicals in Rishikesh, I had first-hand experience with hypnotherapy. So I was also a client once, and there was someone who was helping me with inner child and all of that. And I could feel the transformation. And that is why I decided to continue, because if I can feel the transformation, then I'm sure I can help others feel that transformation
Of course.
too.
Yeah.
So that is why hypnotherapy happened.
No, Sejal, this is quite interesting, and it's very coincidental that we're shooting this on Yoga Day.
Yeah.
So basically, my mother has been practicing yoga since 2018, and today she was glowing like anything. It's like it's her day, it's her festival.
Yeah.
But what I've seen from interactions with people who actually meditate at 7 a.m. in the morning is that they're not able to connect to therapists when they take them to meditation. And
Right.
I was recently introduced to meditation. So the first time I ever experienced meditation was in 2022. It was basically JPMR, which my then CBT made me experience.
Right.
But as I told you also that I disconnected with that CBT because she asked me to take psychiatry, which now coming full circle I think was the right approach.
Yeah.
But the way she sent me off was something that really hurt me because
Yeah.
you get very attached, right? And that was a very good experience, when 45 minutes I was just lying down and I was on a beach and I was, remodeling my life. I was future pacing, or I was just, not seeing a nightmare finally.
Right.
Because whenever there's trauma, whenever there's anxiety, there's just a lot of mess in your head. And then what happens is that when I did this practice with you, for a second, I never got distracted. Like you would have seen that there
Yeah.
were so many times when my maid is coming in, when a call is coming in, and still I could go back into the same spot and pick up from the same place, right? So what is the difference when somebody actually trusts their conscience with a therapist versus they just sit silently with probably some meditative music on Spotify and try to, calm their minds? Of course, I am sure that the people who meditate every day are a little better at mental health than the others.
Right.
But how? Because I have experienced transformational change in just 3 months of daily meditating or weekly meditating.
Right.
Versus people who are doing it for years might not have been able to experience those changes.
So I think trust is the backbone of this therapy, right? And not only of this therapy, in fact, I think trust is something that needs to be there for your client to open up, because you are sharing very sensitive matters with your therapist, right? And you are opening up to them because there is a sense of trust. If there is no trust, client might just not even listen to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right. And so trust is the game changer. There are clients who, you probably must have heard that people are changing their therapists quite often. Like they are probably trying one and they're not resonating, so they're shifting to the other. In fact, I think this is actually good. If you are not resonating with your therapist, that does not mean that the therapist is not good. That just means they are probably not matching your vibe. They are probably not understanding you on the level you expect them to. So yes, trust is a game changer. And also, talking about meditation, I feel firstly meditation is not easy. Like to begin with, even 2 minutes feels a lot. Like just to sit down and concentrate and understand what is happening around you, it is not easy at all. So yes, meditation makes a difference, but I feel when it comes to hypnotherapy, right, there was one more reason that drew me towards it, and that is, of course, I personally feel that words are always not enough, right? Of course, as a psychologist, as a therapist, I've seen that talking can take you way too far. Like
course.
it can, but with hypnotherapy, you tap into the subconscious,
Yeah.
where there are unspoken beliefs, there are patterns that you probably don't even know they exist, and hence hypnotherapy felt like the missing link. Because to heal something, उसे root से हटाना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है.
Yeah.
And with hypnotherapy, you reach the root.
Yeah.
And for example, if you're 25 right now, there probably may be an incident that is stuck with you for when you were 5 years old or 6 years old. And then imagine carrying it with yourself for 20 years.
That was what actually changed the game for me, because I remember when you told me that story during a pitch call, and let me be very frank here, because this is something that everyone will be feeling. So it's better to put out these vulnerabilities on video, right? So when you told me that story of that girl who lost her nani when the parents took her away at 4 years of age, I was like, ये तो मुझे भूल भुलैया का plot बता रही है. So I was very skeptical. But then you told me how it linked to her relationships, and suddenly it just made sense that even that story was made from a very psychological perspective, and Bhul Bhulaiya has a very deep impact on me. Like I was just in class 3 and I was 8 years of age, and I used to feel like Avni. I used to feel maybe I can go crazy and dance like
You've
her.
told me about this actually in one of our sessions.
Yeah, but you know, now it makes so much sense when I saw it myself. You remember
Yeah.
my first session, I took career and I thought career to something I change every 6 months. ये तो मेरी life में matter ही नहीं करता है. And I cried the worst. And in the
Yeah.
first session only, I just wept like a baby. I wasn't
Yeah.
stopping because
Yeah.
I saw my grandfather after years, because I'd blocked him out. Like ever since my family situation changed for me, it was only my maternal side which I was attached to. But
Right.
how strongly my paternal side, you know, anchored me and gave me the personality that I have. And you know, what really shocked me that time was how you just told me what exactly he would have told me if you were alive, that what he wanted from me. So what I've really felt in hypnotherapy is that what you do for us is basically make us our own therapists, because CBT, what happens is
Yeah.
there's so much of gyan on
Yeah.
the internet, right?
Yeah.
And you can tell me a way to live your own ideals, your own upbringing, but I might need to tap into my own core to be able
Right.
to solve my own problems.
Right.
So I mean, but that makes me always question and always try to understand of basically, like my mentor Bharti ma'am, she had an experience which made her dive into therapy.
Right.
So what was your experience? Of course you wanted to fix things, but was there a pivotal event in your life or a pivotal person in your life, good or bad, who pushed you towards this journey?
So I wouldn't say a person, but yes, basically I've been like for my education I've always been in different parts of the country. Like grade 1 and I went to a boarding school, right? So since then I'd always been out, Dehradun, Bombay, Gurgaon, I'd always been out. And when COVID hit, I was in my third year, right? So I had to come back to Muzaffarnagar where I live. Now that was the longest I'd stayed at home ever. And when I came home during my COVID, I got major anxiety, right? I didn't know what was happening to me. My family stood by me to take me out of that. But all of this, that is actually when, for the first time, I understood what anxiety actually is. Because I didn't feel like doing anything. I didn't feel like eating. All I would want to do is cry. Right? And I could not understand why this is happening to me, because it just felt very, like, it was very unknown. Like everything, nothing made sense basically.
Yeah.
So then it took me good 6 to 7 months to get out of it. I was on medication also for a bit, but then that was for like 2 weeks max.
Because your body is acting up, right?
Yeah.
I also remember the time when I had anti-anxiety pills. It was because when I used to wake up, I used to wake up with sweat and palpitations. And you know, it feels like a heart attack. And the person next to you doesn't know what to do. So medicines are important. Like now, coming full circle, and maybe I need a sleep med to, you know, just have a very dreamless sleep, because I'm just looking at nightmares and I'm manifesting them in my life.
Right. But again, medicines are temporary.
Yeah.
And that is what I believe, which is why 2 weeks I got rid of those medicines. Because then it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
And then you can't sleep or function without them.
Of course.
So might as well just get rid of them altogether. So then with my family's support, with my friends, I got out of that situation. And that is when, like post that, I went to Nottingham for my master's. So that was one incident in my life that actually made me feel that if I can go through something like that, then imagine other people who are like in probably a worse situation than I was.
That is the whole point, you know, because there is some toxic element in your family. So maybe the toxicity in your life wasn't a person, it was a situation, like a Suraj Bharjata movie, right?
Yeah.
That it's maybe the fire or the stairs which are a villain.
Yeah.
So that COVID lockdown, because COVID actually changed so many things, Sejal. It's like, for me, COVID was my liberation, because I used to intern at 4 different places. I used to run a YouTube channel on keto dieting. I used to sing, I used to dance, I used to do every single thing, right? So, I mean, just knowing this perspective is so healing and cathartic at the same time, that, you know, you're so privileged that, and maybe it also makes sense because, you know, for you really liked being out there because your home was your anchor. But now that you're back home and you can't go anywhere else, you are like a parachute, or probably not just a parachute, you're like a plane which needs to fly, and grounded hoga to anxiety mein hoga. But for me, the world outside was so chaotic the family was so chaotic that those closed doors gave me liberation.
Yeah,
That
it made
I
you
could
feel
be
safe.
myself.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
COVID has actually meant so many different things for so many different people.
And also during COVID, Gauri, what happened was you turn on the news, there is so much negativity. Like you would never hear something good.
Yeah.
And people are always talking about, oh, these many cases happened, these many people lost their lives. So no matter how much you want to distract yourself from all this, you would eventually just go back to listening the same stories again and again
Yeah.
for like days and months. So then after a point, it becomes very toxic and it becomes very heavy.
Yeah.
Overwhelming for you to actually take in everything.
Of course. Because
Right.
I'm in the news cycle, so I know,
Exactly.
when the Air India crash recently happened, that is when I started having anxiety in office. And I'm really thankful to the office dog to, be there for me in that phase. And even the bosses were, to anchor you and everything. So I've really seen, Sejal, that illnesses can manifest emotionally as well.
Right.
And people think that, mental illness and physical illness are two different things. But now that we read literature like Louise Hay, I want your perspective on basically a deeper detail of how neglected mental health care can, number one, affect your own relationships, career, your health, your money situation, the HRCM that we talk about, and later manifest into a disease.
So, I think mental health is something that people take very lightly, right? For example, if they get a hurt, physical health पे कुछ भी affect हो, they will उसी समय go to a doctor, take medicines, and try to deal with all of that. But if they are going through stress or anxiety or not feeling like themselves, they will probably just ignore all of that, thinking कि time के साथ I'll be fine. And that is what I want to tell people, that when we bottle up emotions, when we keep things inside us, we feel they don't have any effect on us. But in the long run, it's those thoughts, those things that we've kept inside us that actually backfire.
Yeah.
Right? And when we talk about therapy, so there is this perception in the society that therapy is for people who are broken, or that therapy is for people who, are going through something mentally. But I personally feel that therapy is for anybody and everybody who wants to understand themselves better. Right? Because when you go for therapy, it is, of course, there's a mirror.
Yeah.
Like, we therapists are the mirror for you. We help you reflect.
Yes.
But we also provide you with the map that helps you understand now what's the step ahead. Right? So be it a corporate person, be it in the healthcare, fashion, any industry you talk about, I think everybody needs therapy just to understand themselves better,
Yeah.
to be a better version of them, and just to stay grounded, stay present. Because so healing and therapy is something where pain meets presence,
Such a beautiful line.
right?
Yeah.
So you're going through everything that you probably wouldn't ever want to. But you're going through all of that by staying present in the moment.
Of course, because
Right.
you can now see the symptoms, and I'll tell you something very honestly, if you've seen Inside Out and Inside Out 2, they show this thing that, just because a person is not acting out, is not shouting or crying, doesn't mean that they're fixed, because they've
Right.
bottled up.
Right.
And that bottling up can, manifest in so many different ways. I've seen some people who are very thin. They're actually very rigid in their nature. They don't accept things very easily.
Right.
तो उनकी body nutrition accept नहीं कर रही है, उनकी body एक तरीके से change accept नहीं कर रही है. Versus I've seen the people who gain weight easily are people pleasers.
Right.
Because they will adapt to anything and everything. Like if somebody is giving them a leftover of food, वो खा लेंगे. But अगर वो ज़्यादा खा भी नहीं रहे, it is basically the emotional piling
Right.
that is happening. So
Right.
I have also experienced a change with you. I had gone into procedures of, intermittent fasting,
Yeah.
and, I had such a battered relationship with food that I can't even think about it anymore.
I know you. I remember you telling me कि मुझे ऐसा लगता है if I have even a glass of water, you'll gain weight.
Yeah, because what happened was 3 years I was with a person who loved eating, whose coping mechanism was eating. So that energy mirrored on me,
Right.
And then, of course, I wanted to just wash that person out of my life. So I decided that now I'll eat exactly how much I used to eat, uska opposite.
Right.
So if I'm having 3 meals, I'll have 1 meal. But then I'm having a nighttime meal, which is even more problematic to the body. So now that I started releasing, and I still remember I was fasting when I started
I
hypnotherapy with
know.
you, and I maintained 9 days of fast, but I ate more than I eat on normal days because I integrated fruits, I integrated gluten free, and it was an amazing experience. So I personally believe that a therapist can actually make you lose weight as well.
Yeah.
They can make you feel better, healthier, happier, more expressive in ways, because one of my clients is actually a father, and an established journalist, and still so many pent up emotions, so many anxieties. And when you start releasing, the change you can see and I can see in 2 sessions only. And
100%. And Gauri, I remember you were somebody who would struggle waking up.
yeah, my God, I still
Imagine
remember
we are sitting here today.
the first session I had with you, I hadn't even brushed my
Yeah,
teeth,
I
and
know.
I had all those वो कीचड़ कहते हैं ना आँखों में लगा हुआ, and I just had like this dress on,
Yeah.
and I did not want to even get up, but I was
Yeah.
like, okay, now my anxiety starts when I've committed something to somebody,
Right.
and I have to switch on the laptop,
Yeah.
and I have to be there on the call.
Yeah.
It was also a thing, like there were a lot of things at play कि अच्छा free का session है, लेके तो देखते हैं कौन सा ये मुझसे आज ही payment मांग रही है. So I wanted to really know what is going wrong with me, because see, every time I knew that since 2022 it was the winters which went hard for me, and the last session that we had, just knowing that like the first ever realization, I used to be very interested about past life regression,
Yeah.
कि शायद मुझे कहीं का PTSD है, but it was all in this life.
Yes.
My fear of balloons stemmed from when I was 4 years of age. My winter depression stemmed from COVID, post-COVID, and when I moved out of home and into
Yeah.
Gurgaon. It was just mind-blowing. But those answers just strengthen you so much, Sejal.
100%. And I think that realization about the winter depression we discovered in the last session only,
Yeah,
right?
that is the whole thing, you know. I used to self-diagnose myself as somebody with bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
That maybe in June, July, August, I get very hypermaniac, and I get very melancholic in the winter months.
Right.
But actually, the traumatic months were June, July, August, and I was
Right.
compensating them with happiness. Winter was a happy time in family, and lack of happiness made me depressed. It was so simple that I didn't really need to, go into the math of things, go into a
Right.
past life regression of things. But I really want to know your opinion, because this has been a question very persistently asked of me. You told me in the first session that CBT changes 10% of your mind. It is the same thing as a very seasoned person giving you advice.
Right.
Versus hypnotherapy changing 90% of your conscious in a very little time, which I can see in myself,
Yeah.
like a 360-degree transformation. And because you tap into your subconscious. Now, do you feel past life regression, the 10% that's left, have you tried it? Do you recommend it? What's your opinion on it?
So, past life regression is not something that I practice, mainly because I don't resonate with it. And unless I feel that, I can go ahead with this modality, I will not do it unless I am convinced, right? So I feel that the issue that the client is facing is like there is majorly something related to this lifetime only, because when we are young, when we are children, right, we are too naive. We don't understand things that happen to us, and we eventually just go with the flow without even realizing, oh, this thing has affected me. So I personally do not practice past life regression. In fact, there are people who've had transformations with past life regression as well. But yes, I think if that is a modality you want to go ahead and you want to pursue, or you want to try, then definitely you should give it a shot. But yeah, if you talk about me, it is not something I resonate with. Hence, I don't practice past
No,
life.
this is the same advice I gave to somebody, because I was like, if you don't fix this life, there's no use of going in the past life and getting some answers, right? आप पहले इस जिंदगी को तो देखो. Like, I think 50% of the folks out there, 60% of the folks out there don't even talk. So here women have maybe a little more liberty, but still, their facts can be targeted against themselves.
Right.
And that is a sociological challenge. But, as therapists, we give such an open space. And see, this is one very pivotal question which I asked Bharti ma'am of, the challenges of dealing with men and women. But I remember in our pre-sessions, you told me that you only deal with women. So with her, she says that it's souls that we're dealing with, which is a philosophy I also practice. So I have male clients as well.
Right.
But you only practicing with women, I want to know the rationale and I want to know what actually differentiates men and women, because this is a question that has also been asked of
Right,
me.
right. So, the fact that I focus primarily on women has nothing to do with excluding men, but it is more to do with creating more impact, right? So, I believe in depth over breadth. So, I personally feel that studying, so basically, men and women have a very different way of dealing with things, right? Be it emotions, be it in social gatherings or whatever. I feel a man and a woman function very differently, right? So the only reason I went ahead with the women is because the category that I'm choosing, I want to go all in with that, right? So that the clients that come to me, with time, with experience, I understand in a more better way why a woman acts in a particular way. Because of course there is nothing wrong with dealing with men as well,
Of
but
course.
primarily I want to focus on women because I think it is better to explore one category in depth than both the categories together. So that is why my focus completely is on women at the moment. Maybe in the future I start taking sessions for men as well, but right now it's only on women because the way they act, the way they feel, the way they, just interact with the surrounding, I think it's very different to how a man would react.
Of course, and I'll tell you something about somaticism, which I've recently come across. So, of course, Instagram ads can, leave you baffled sometimes because
Yeah.
there's just so much out in the universe
Yeah.
and you don't know what to tap. But when I realized that my illnesses had to do with probably a sort of separation or a sort of pent up anger or a sort of resentment, so dance really helps you, or music or theater, which is why expressions therapy or arts therapy
Right.
and all of these terms have come in. So because I still remember when we were training to be inner child healers under Bharti ma'am, she used to make us dance for 5 minutes before closing the session, and it used to be like abhi humne father wounds heal kiye hain, and they're the worst wounds sometimes because they, for many cases, they root from narcissism.
Yeah.
And then you're dancing it out on
Yeah.
like maybe a Jai Ho or other songs. So
What is this combination? Like, how do you end up dancing after going through so
but
much?
I can tell you that it solved so
Yeah.
much because there are no solutions to some things. Like you cannot fix your father. And especially for the students who were with me who did not have their father, like these grown-up women, उनको तो रिलीज ही करना है, तो डांस इज सच अ नाइस रिलीज, रनिंग,
Yeah,
जॉगिंग, जिमिंग, ऑल ऑफ
definitely.
these things. So what are some of the ways which you use to release not just your own challenges but the challenges that you carry from your sessions, because it gets very jarring
Yeah.
at times.
No, definitely. I think I have a lot of days where I feel extremely low. Like, I am a therapist, but I'm a human.
Yeah, of
Right?
course.
So, there are days where I am extremely low. I don't feel like doing anything. So, that is when actually workout is something that I do regularly. And I start my day with a workout because it just instantly brings me back to the present moment, and it instantly makes me feel so like positive. And then sports is something that I really enjoy,
Wow.
like basketball, badminton. I love playing sports. And then, of course, music, dance, all of these things just happen. And I think you need these refreshers in life. You can't just function the same way the entire month or in, you have to like distract yourself. You need to experiment. You need to
Yeah.
see what works for you. Maybe a good workout is something that works for me but does not work for you.
Yeah.
So that is very subjective. But yeah, I think working out, dancing, all of these things.
Basically releasing the kinesthetic energy,
Yeah,
right?
basically that.
Huh.
Yes. So I think these things are a game changer.
They are. And Sejal, now that through hypnotherapy we've met our inner child, it sometimes feels that they make us operate.
Yeah.
So the inner child tells you that today I want to eat an ice cream, or
Yeah.
today I want to cook XYZ, or today I want to paint, or today I want to dance and I want to dress up and dance and probably record myself, right?
Right.
And I've really experienced that inner child energy is so safe. It
Yeah.
doesn't make you act out of desperation, because
Yeah.
when you've grown up, you tend to please people beyond your means. But when you are an inner child, like when you've tapped into your inner child, then you're innocent. So
Yeah.
even if you're trying to please somebody,
Yeah.
it's an innocent ways.
Yeah.
So there's you know, you don't need to filter yourself for people.
Yeah.
And that gives so much of transparency, because otherwise we're all, you know, just trapped in chambers. We're actually we're compartmentalizing our emotions and
Right.
manipulating ourselves to believe some truths.
Right.
And I am sure that you found these games going on in the minds of people. But going into specific studies, I want to understand what was your probably what was the year when you got your first client. How many clients, if you want to go into quantity right now, tell me, like you have. And the most important question is, what is the age range, and what are
Right.
the kind of issues? Like, are there mothers you're dealing with? Are there probably grandmothers? Like, what is this target audience of women who are consulting you these days?
Right. So I've started very recently, Gauri. I started in 2023 November.
Okay.
Right. And you won't believe, but my first client was actually my cousin's friend who introduced me to this modality.
Wow.
Yeah. So, in fact, both of us we were supposed to start it together, but for some reason she didn't end up showing up, and I continued with the course.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
So then I had completed my course, I'd completed my practicals, and I was at a stage where I was working on my case studies for the final certification. Right. And she just dropped me a text. She was already seeing a therapist, all
Okay.
right. So she dropped me a text and she's like, do you mind if we take a session? And I was like, I'd not even started officially.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
in the phase where I was working on my cases. So I was like, why not? Let's just give it a shot. And she's the same client. Remember, I told you the entire Nani incident.
Oh,
The one who
okay.
thought that a good personal and professional life is not meant for her.
Wow.
And then she's married, settled in Canada now.
Wow.
So she was my first client. And I only required one session with her.
She healed in one session.
Only one session.
Are you serious?
It was only one session with her.
Wow.
And the change was crazy. Like, it was like, as a therapist, I did not expect her to just show up like that. And it was beautiful to see that change. And I think that was one case that actually pushed me more towards it and actually wanted me to start practicing as soon as I can.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Right. And after that, once I got my cases submitted, I got my certification, I started Apricity Haven. And the age group that I mainly deal with is between 25 to 40, right? Because ये जो age group होता है ना, I think this age group people are figuring out what to do, how to do it. Even if they are in a particular field, they're all over the place, right? So this is my target audience for now, because I feel people who reach out to me are mainly either stuck with how to proceed in their careers or anxiety, relationship issues. I think relationship issues is majorly a problem these days.
I wanted to ask, ki,
Yeah.
are women more into career problems or relationship problems these days?
There is not one
One size fits all, probably.
yeah, like I don't think there is one outweighing the other. दोनों हैं, but दोनों ही extreme है. Let's put it that way. And in fact, I got a client recently who she went through an IVF treatment because she was not able to conceive. And you won't believe, Gauri, when she reached out to me, the first time she did that treatment, it wasn't successful. And the time she reached out to me, she was completely broken.
I can understand.
Too much was happening. She's like, I don't know how to
Yeah.
go ahead with it. And when she reached out to me, there was not a chance of her going with the treatment again, at least in that time phase.
Yeah, of course.
But you won't believe, now she is pregnant again. The IVF treatment, it just happened.
My
like
God.
it just went with the flow. She was not planning to go ahead with it for probably one year minimum. But things aligned, things worked out for her. And yes, so basically, why I'm telling you this is that behind her going through the treatment, maybe physically she was properly dedicated, she was taking her medications, resting, but mentally she was not in the right headspace to
Maybe she was
actually.
blocking out the blessing.
100%. Because when there is so much going on inside your head, how can you make space for somebody new?
Of course. You know, I
Right.
have seen this thing that, you know, stress can delay periods.
Right.
That does happen.
100%, yeah.
And change of atmosphere, change of places. And, you know, I will share my personal experience here when I was really sick with fever
Yeah.
the past week. And the doctor actually wrote anxiety as a reason. And I'm like, allopathy mein anxiety kab se diagnose hone lag gayi? But that happened,
Yeah.
right? And I just cried to my mom, you know. I was having some discussions with her and it was not an easy week. And I was like, Mom, why is God so brutal to me?
This is the past week, right?
This week, like this Thursday, I
Acha.
spoke to her. So past week we did not have a good conversation, and this week, like I said that time, na, that when you don't have self love, you borrow it from mothers.
Yeah.
Because mothers will always have one little sack
Space,
of love
yeah.
just hidden for
Yeah.
you. जैसे वो छोटी
वो
सी
होगा.
खाने की चीज
हाँ.
मम्मा छुपा के रखती है ना, वैसे ही एक प्यार का छोटा सा पोटली मम्मा के पास होता है. So my mom today had a very busy day because yoga day, and you know उसके अलावा there was tuition that she was taking, and उससे पहले भी स्कूल में कुछ ना कुछ ट्रेनिंग चल रही है. But she always has time for me, even those
Right.
10 minutes are therapy. Like if you can just call your mom or dad, it
Yeah.
really
No,
helps.
definitely.
So I was speaking to her and I was crying, and that same night I had a show to attend.
Okay.
And then I realized that, you know, the same loneliness I'm complaining of is actually freedom. Because had I been with somebody, anybody, maybe in a family setup, maybe in a relationship, I wouldn't have the scope and time to choose a friend and go with them, no strings attached.
Right.
And you know, awareness is the key. So basically, when you have freedom, the parents have this fear that now the child will exploit the freedom and, you know, just go into probably the worst kind of things. But I have seen with clients, they've left substance on their own accord.
Yeah.
Because now they realize what they're getting into. So even if they've tried, now they'll try it never again. And probably that push is important. Like that push of you being in home was important to realize what anxiety is and
Yeah,
to
yeah.
actually carve your life path. It is sometimes important to, you know, make those mistakes, fall deeply in love and then rise out of it,
Yeah.
probably.
And also, you know what, Gauri, I feel is you can understand other person's pain in a better way
Yeah.
if you have gone through it.
Yes.
Right. And only because I personally know what anxiety feels like. I know it can just completely ruin you
Yeah.
inside out.
It's demons. It's like genuine demons in your head.
So then when somebody comes to me, I know what they are going through. And hence it just makes me want them to feel extremely calm, grounded, and just being able to trust. Because without trust, we can't proceed. Like we just spoke, you can't proceed and you can't force anybody to do anything.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes in my sessions, what happens is when clients are talking, वो कहानी बोलते जाएंगे without telling the main points.
I still remember you stopped there. You know कि when the person is going in
Yeah.
circles and you're like चलो meditation में चलते हैं,
हाँ.
मेरे को वहाँ से answers मिलेंगे, तुम answer नहीं दे रहे हो.
क्योंकि वो hide करना चाहते हैं ना उस part
Yes,
को. वो
yes.
sensitive part है. And that is something they have to face.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So there are times where you need to stop the client because they are not, how do I say it? They are not probably strong enough to deal with what
Of course,
they are
of
facing.
course, yeah.
So that is when you need to ask them to stop, क्योंकि वरना they will keep going for hours without coming to the main point. Right? So it is important for them to stop, for us to give them a reality check.
Yeah.
कि ऐसे नहीं होगा. जब तक फेस नहीं करोगे तब तक अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं मिलेगी, तब तक रोड मैप नहीं दिखेगा कि आगे कैसे बढ़ना है.
Yeah.
So that is something that I've experienced in my sessions.
So Sejal, now moving to, you know, the aspect of one-on-one versus corporate therapy versus group sessions and, you know, training a lot of people together for probably a lesser price.
Yeah.
And to the full-fledged concept of, giving therapy through Instagram if you become like an influencer of sorts. So I want to understand the difference between the approaches. What are you doing currently? And I mean, what are the pros and cons of each practice? Because the question stems from therapy being mostly treated as a service.
Right.
But asking for money becomes very important. People ghost you, people drain energy out of you. There are constant fevers, colds, coughs, body pains, so many things going on with therapists. And there is also burnout in a corporate setup. Like
Right.
if you're independently practicing, which is one thing I really want to give a credit to you, that you experienced corporate world and you thought that I can start up on my own. And that little leap of faith has made you reach this phase
Yeah.
at this little a time.
Yeah.
So it is very, very important, because I personally have experienced whenever I've worked with somebody, there are always some kind of challenges. Versus when you do your own practice, when your
Yeah.
own one-man army, आप outsource कर लेते हो video help, आप outsource कर लेते हो ideas, लेकिन you are your own anchor.
Definitely. I think, see, I am somebody, I feel that I am not somebody who can work 9 to 5. Right? That is not me. I need to work with my timings, with my comfort, and just have the freedom to work the way I want to. And that is not possible if you're working under somebody.
Of course,
right?
of course.
And also, what I feel is, Gauri, that with self practice, with independent practice, you have full in charge over the client. So you can begin the way you want to. You
Yeah.
can start and end the way you want to. But if you're working under somebody, then it's that person, they're senior to you. So they are telling you ki aise start karo, start with this therapy. But I think this is something that just comes to you.
Yeah.
It's just intuition.
Exactly.
कि इससे शुरू करो, इससे
You
difference
can't
पड़ेगा.
have math like, you remember we were discussing of how I complimented your creativity during sessions. Because, it's like you're making me live a fairy tale. And I get to choose my room. It's like I used to read Goosebumps in my childhood,
Yeah.
and उसमें वो होता था ना, इस पेज पे जाओ if you want this, इस पेज पे जाओ. तो this is a positive version of that.
Yeah.
And I was one day, I just realized it and I said it out loud, ki, I really admire your creativity, because this is not a script that you're following.
Yeah. You can't follow a script. I think if you follow a script, you are not in the moment.
Yeah.
And with therapy, like I said, you need to be present in the moment. Like, of course, the client is in the moment, but imagine you as a therapist, if
Yes.
you are following a script, then how is the client going to resonate with
Of
you?
course, of
It
course.
is not possible. And I feel the more creative you get, for example, when you tell me I'm in this room, I'm like, okay, describe the room to me. Okay, are the curtains open? So these little things, so there are sessions where I'm like, okay, the curtains are drawn, curtains open karo. धूप आने दो, let light enter. So these little things make a lot of difference in sessions. And I think creativity, again, is a game changer.
Yes.
It just, I think the client also needs variations.
Of course.
They need change. They can't keep following the same script. Like, there are sessions where we require the client to follow certain instructions, but you need to play around with that as well.
Yes, you need to make it very interesting
Yeah.
each time, because
Yeah.
and I have seen that myself, that I when I started my practice, even I just jumped into it. But I was seeing that I can give this and I can do that, and
Yeah.
it was just somebody guiding me, and it's not a script. It's
Yeah.
just sometimes you need to follow some material when you're talking to them about it. That is structured sessions. So where is my question coming to you, that are you just doing one-on-ones right now, or are you also getting into the group learning of things?
So one-on-one is something that I do, like that's my main thing, right? Because I personally...
And is it virtual only, or is it also in person?
No, right now it's completely virtual, right? But I feel that one-on-one sessions are... There is nothing that can come closer to it.
Of course.
Because there is a sense of personal touch with your client, and there are certain things that people probably won't say in a group session.
And there's investment,
Yeah,
you are
there is-
important, because
Yeah.
the whole reason why people come to therapy is to feel important.
Yeah.
क्योंकि अभी तक वो neglected हैं. And either they're narcissistic, abused, or they're themselves narcissists. So what they're doing is that they're giving an illusion to the world that either they're not important or either they're too important.
Yeah.
And you ground them.
Yeah.
So if that happens in a group session, like immediately, if they haven't experienced a one-on-one, it's just like a classroom.
Yeah.
And personalized attention, तभी तो tuitions हुए.
Yeah.
So I feel one-on-one is a tuition which you really need.
one-on-one में हम client को reality check देते हैं कि तुम अपनी अलग दुनिया में जी रहे हो, but ये reality है.
Yeah.
And you need to accept it because that is the only way forward.
Of course.
Otherwise, you're going to get, you'll probably go in a different direction. You won't even know what you're doing while you're doing.
Yes, yes. That is
Right?
the whole point. You know, I still remember I was into therapy. I was into NLP. When I started feeling better, I used to drop. हमेशा यही होता था, मैं complete ही नहीं करती
And that is what happened when you reached out to me. You had completely
Yeah.
given off, like stopped NLP and everything else. Yeah.
And what I used to do in those mania months of mine was start a project.
Right.
Maybe a YouTube channel, maybe working on a book. Never complete it. So there was always abandonment. And maybe now that I'm talking about it, it was a person abandoning me. And then that same energy carries over into relationships also in the future as well. Because you cannot run away from your past.
Right.
You've got to face it, you've got to fix it, and then you've got to move forward.
Right.
And that is how it is important. But do you feel that, you know, at a point you can bring your clients together to, you know, teach them the exact causes of trauma or narcissism? Do you feel that you wanted to get into a group or a corporate setup sometime?
100%. I think maybe 2 years down the line, or maybe 1 year. You never know.
Of
But
course.
I
I
was-
will say a prediction of 6 months.
I was never expecting this podcast, but it happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as soon as possible, I think I will get into it. But you know, Gauri, the thing is, it's very confidential, right? Some people are not okay with people knowing that they're taking therapy, right? So, maybe inviting all the clients to one place for something like this, I will need consent from everyone.
Yes.
You know?
That is very
Yeah,
true.
I can't do it without their consent. And
But if you're going to a corporate session, no, I will tell you something very honestly. I went to this PR agency, and you know, PR is one of the most hectic professions because
Right.
it's almost round the clock. It's like you've got to be one step ahead of the journalist, and journalists are 24/7.
Definitely.
So our PRs 25/7, we don't know. I was myself a PR once, and then I made a conscious choice to quit to corporate, and then corporate से मैं इसमें आई, journalism में आई. So these folks, of course, had a lot of questions on how to pitch to a journalist and everything, and I always had answers connected to some kind of psychology. And then one of the people there, very young chap, he just opens up and says, how can I let go of this mental block? And I'm like, okay, I am just an inner child healer for 25 people
I
at
have a
once.
client.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like, that one moment. Otherwise, I was very firm in my head ki, see, people might be repelled by me if I start selling myself out there. So I will keep it very discreet that I'm an inner child healer. Of course, it's on my LinkedIn because I have no shame in admitting that I took therapy for 5 years
Yeah.
and now I'm ready to be a therapist for people. At least a mental health first aider is what I call myself.
That is, and you should be really proud of it.
I like, you know, Sejal, honestly, the real change doesn't come when you realize it.
Yeah.
It comes when your family acknowledges
Yeah.
it. And it is the most beautiful praise that you can get. Maybe
Yeah.
from somebody who looks up to you.
Yeah.
Maybe from somebody who's seen you grow, seen your difficulties, and still, you know, has the minute to say ki, Gauri, others in your circumstance wouldn't have been able to do this.
Yeah.
So I equally thank all of my therapists, even those who abandoned me, even those who are there with me still. And I tell people I'm so toxic that I have 2 therapists, not one. I reach out to 2 people at the same time, and now there's a third as well.
Yeah.
Like there's a corporate physician. So the whole point here is that, you know, therapy is something I'm not ashamed of, and it was at one point of my life used as a curse or a taunt. But that is what people need to actually escape out of. You
Yeah.
know, they've got to come out of this mindset ki they don't need therapy, because this was something that Kanchan ma'am changed in me, the first ever woman who gave me therapy in 2020. So I consulted for my mom because I knew exactly that what my mom is going through. And then she said ki I said my mom is not ready because she abandoned the first session ke baad second session mama did not turn
Yeah.
up. So I told Kanchan ma'am ki can I take therapy? But I don't feel that I have challenges the way my mom has. She's like, everyone can take therapy. I don't get to determine how intense your challenges are. And maybe that's the cue for everyone to, you know, just come to either you or me and just talk.
Definitely, I think therapy is not for people who are broken. Therapy is for anybody who's human.
Yeah, that is such a beautiful
You know,
line. Yeah.
you don't need to hit rock bottom to go
Hmm.
visit somebody or to go speak to somebody. It, you know, in today's world, I think everything is so superficial, Gauri, that people are finding it difficult to trust their loved ones.
Very
Their
true.
closest people, they hesitate before telling
Just look
things.
at the breakdown of marriages that's happening
Yeah.
right now. It's
It's
getting
insane.
criminal.
Yeah.
And now, you know, I think this question just came from the universe, because now that you only deal with women, I think you will be able to answer for all the men who are watching in a little bit of fear and angst of what exactly is happening. See, my little input and two pennies on this is that women have seen oppression and now they want to take things in their own hands, maybe like Avni. Maybe what she wanted to do in Bhool Bhulaiya.
Yeah.
But this taking a criminal turn, what is it that you want to tell that woman to draw her back into her senses and not do this if she's planning this? Because maybe your and my podcast can actually help stop a murder right now.
I mean, I just feel that don't keep things inside you. I think that breaks a person.
Yeah.
Even when they think that they are going through something, they need to let it out. And you really don't need to go to a therapist. It can be anybody, like probably your closest friend. But again, coming back to what I was saying, that it's very difficult for people to trust anybody today. Right? So that is why therapy is also pacing a little, because when they're going to a therapist, they know that therapist को मेरी personal life के बारे में कुछ नहीं पता, and she does not know anybody who is close to me, and neither do I. So everything that I tell her will be confidential.
Yeah.
It's going to stay with her, and also I will get clarity, and I will feel seen and heard, which is the most important thing.
Very important.
You just need somebody there to listen to what you're saying and to help you come out of it based on your own experience, based on your own probably patterns or beliefs that you were living with. And that is again where hypnotherapy comes into picture.
Of course.
You
But
know?
coming back to my question, Sejal, and let me get into the specifics of it. I had intended to ask you about, you know, upskilling and AI, but this, whenever talking about sociological aspects now, I think that is more the need of the hour. That is
Right.
something that the common masses will resonate with. So, getting into the two specific cases of women murderers in India, which is at rage. One is the Muskan Rastogi lady, and the other one is the Sonam Raghuvanshi lady. So both of these women married. One of them had a love marriage, found love again, and decided to kill rather than take a divorce. The second one fell in love with somebody, was married probably against her will, but her pictures show a very different scenario.
Yeah.
And if I were her, I would have run away. Like, for me, I've always told my family that I will decide who I marry. Because I don't want to come tomorrow and tell you that you made a wrong choice for me. Even if I made a wrong choice, even if I got heartbroken, it's me. That
Right.
hurts lesser.
Right.
Because you can eventually, at the end of the day, forgive yourself. You can't forgive the other person.
Right.
So I want to get into your experience of, you know, the female psychology of why this happened, why these women snapped, and what can we do to bring them back into a very humane, not a murderous aspect.
So again, Gauri, this is very subjective, because we are reading what is shown to us, right? We don't know what actually happened
Yeah.
or what is going on inside the woman's head also. So me sitting here and giving my opinion on this, I don't think that makes sense, because I don't know the other side of the story.
Yeah. So you're not diagnosing just based on the cues which are available
Right.
in the media,
Right.
which is a very sensitive realization,
Right.
because it's, you know, what these talk shows do is they call a therapist and they ask them to decode the case. And sometimes it just feels a little deceptive. You know, you don't know what's going on, because
Yeah.
now the three kind of cases that I'm seeing is, one, a man is committing suicide. Number two, the woman is committing murder.
Okay.
And number three, the most neglected cases, yet the most persistent ones since 2 decades, 3 decades since we were born, मतलब उससे पहले से भी, rape, murder, dowry, women. And now what is happening is, whenever there's a rape case, men assert that not all men.
Right.
So now women are turning up, and sometimes it's people like me also, not all women. Ki, like if a man has committed suicide, rather than being compassionate to them, I'm saying, but even women are being killed, women are being burnt, and there is a defiance.
Right.
So how do we, एक तरीके से balance this tandem, because it gets very chaotic, and Instagram can be a good place for business, good place for learning, but also a very chaotic place for discussions.
So that is again something that has to come from within,
Hmm.
right? You and I sitting here, we can't actually see those women who are doing all of this or men who are doing all of this. They are also coming from a certain place, and sometimes incidents in life happen that probably just hold back a person in ways we don't even realize.
Yeah.
Right? So we, like again I said, we don't know the other side of the story. We don't know what they have gone through. And again, like we deal with clients and all, we completely help clients based on their side of the story. Right? We, like, for example, if somebody's gone through a breakup, this is a very simple example that I'm giving, but if somebody's gone through a breakup, we only know, for example, if I'm dealing with a client, I know her side of the story. I don't know what probably the guy had faced or
Yeah.
what the guy went through. And we try to make the client understand that no, it just happened. Whatever comes up in the sessions, we don't know. Again, it's very subjective. But what I'm trying to say is, it is not okay for me to sit and pass on a comment saying that okay, usne ye kara, so she's probably done it because of this reason, without knowing
The actual reason, without them telling you what the actual thing is.
Yeah.
And so one thing about couples therapy, I even asked Bharti ma'am, was that, do you recommend it, do you practice it? And she said that, people are entities, different entities.
Yeah.
Like they might be a unit in front of the world, but inside they're their own chaos.
Yeah.
And because if suppose there is a couple which goes into therapy, the other one will keep seeing कि ये progress कर रहा है, अपनी progress पे ध्यान नहीं देंगे. So have you come across requests of giving therapy to couples, or giving therapy to probably like a mother and daughter, or like a sister and sister together?
So there have been cases where because I was taking therapy for a client, I eventually had to speak to her mother about something, right? During the case. But I agree with Bharti ma'am, and I totally feel that individuals are different, right? So like when I spoke to her mother as well, I did it separately. I don't believe in putting them in the same room and having a conversation. Because then, for example, if we have mother and a child in the same room, and I as a therapist I'm talking to them, then probably what mother is saying, maybe child has a point, but maybe the child is not able to put across the point at that point of time. Right? So I believe that yes, maybe sister and sister, they're probably not getting along and they need therapy. But if it was me, I would do it separately. I would not put them together in a room. Because the fact that they're not getting along is also for a reason.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And that is going to make them feel even more uncomfortable. And they're just going to end up feeling like, why did I show up here? And that is not something that I want.
Yeah, of course. And Sejal, one question that has always been asked, like that was one of the very targeted questions for this podcast also, which a viewer asked was, how many sessions is too many sessions for therapy?
So I'm going to speak in terms of hypnotherapy, right? Now, hypnotherapy, we deal with the subconscious, and that is literally 4,000 times more powerful than the conscious. So there is no particular number. Like I said, for that client, one session was enough, right? But I would say 4 to 5 sessions are more than enough for a person. But it is subjective, because we don't know what the person is going through.
Because people fear that therapy is a lifelong trap. is what I've heard. जैसे एलोपैथी है, डायबिटीज की मेडिसिन से शुरू की तो डायबिटीज कंट्रोल हो सकती है, क्योर नहीं हो सकती. कैंसर कंट्रोल हो सकता है, क्योर नहीं हो सकता. सो इज थेरेपी ऑल्सो द सेम वे? क्योंकि चैलेंजेस तो आते रहेंगे. चलो टुडे आई एम नॉट मैरिड, टुमारो आई एम मैरिड, आई विल स्टिल नीड थेरेपी. देन आई विल हैव अ चाइल्ड, आई विल स्टिल नीड थेरेपी. Then the child will leave home and I'll have an empty nest, I'll still need therapy. So do you feel that therapy is like addictive as medicines, or does it actually make someone so strong that they can deal with their own crises?
That is what I think. I don't think it is that addictive. Like medicines, yes, once you start taking them, you don't want to stop because you start functioning the way you want to.
Yeah.
Right? And then you're like, a dawai to leni hai, le lete hain and I'll be fine. But with therapy, you become strong as a person.
You become aware. I think awareness is the key. And Sejal, do you believe that therapy can heal cancer? Therapy can heal tumors? Therapy, like, of course, we're not discrediting modern science, but do you feel that a person can heal faster if they go into therapy?
100% because you are clearing blocks one step at a time.
Wow.
And I think everything is related to emotions. Like these emotions, they bottle up and they start, for example, like there are certain things that you are not able to express, right? You keep them inside you. And that is probably why people, this is very again subjective, but probably that is why a person is going through thyroid, which happens in the neck.
No, though, Louise has written about this, and I personally feel that, thyroid has to do something with emotional blocks.
Yeah,
like because a sense of control.
Yeah.
Like you're not letting go, you're actually holding up too much. And the two people who I've seen with thyroid actually had this issue.
Yeah, you're not expressing.
You're bottling up.
So, in one of my batches, there was this lady who was diagnosed with thyroid post-marriage.
Wow.
Now, if you think about it, then if you try to connect the dots, then it tells you that post-marriage, maybe she was not given a voice. Maybe she was not able to express what she was feeling, which is why she kept things inside her. And this took the role of this basically led to that person suffering from thyroid.
I have personally seen that, sometimes the body falls ill to call for attention.
Yeah.
And it is very scary, because you give so much of control, authority, and ek tarike se authenticity and entity to a person. So this is probably the final question that I have for you. What is that one way that people can bring themselves back? Of course, they need you and me to, go into the deeper details of things. But what is that one anchor that a person can have for self-love? Because that is where it all begins, right?
So, Gauri, I feel that you need to learn to sit with discomfort to feel comfortable. Right? So, of course, you and I are there for people. But that is also only possible when they are ready to sit with the sadness that they're feeling. Because in order to feel happy, they need to know what sadness feels like. In order to feel joy, they need to know what, drowning you feels like. So, you have to be okay with understanding your emotions and sitting with the discomfort.
Yeah.
Trying to understand where this has come from. Because like you said, awareness. Awareness is magical. Right? And when you are more aware about your actions, about what you're doing, what you're not doing, it becomes easy for you to even express yourself to others. Right? So that is what I would like to say, that don't neglect your emotions, because it's the emotions that make you and it's the emotions that break you.
No, of course. I think that's the underlining line, that, emotions have so much of power that they can make or break a person.
Definitely.
And Sejal, of course, I can go on and on because this is such an engaging discussion, but I think we're running short of time. So thank you so much for doing this with us. And I hope to see you again, because this is an ongoing discussion. I really want to tap into how AI is helping you in your practice. What are the next steps for your journey? Like maybe we can have like a quarterly audit of your progress, and how it is so important to market yourself at the same time, ask for what you need, and not just be a giver. But this is the pivotal point for, a very in-depth discussion and maybe an insight into how hypnotherapy works, and if somebody wants to experience it. So thank you so much once again, and keep watching the Soul School for more such content.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.